dormer, probably inside that attic space there.
We just visually verified.
I am Kirk Stitch. I'm with C2FR and Rescue. I'm a planning section lieutenant. Part of our job is to arrange the training, manage the volunteers that are in the organization. What we've got going here today is a training burn for our most recent academy. And we have our new recruits as well as some of our seasoned firefighters in there helping to train them, kind of get them up to speed and understand what real fire is really like.
So we've got Cowlitz County District 6 up in Castle Rock and Cowlitz C2FR and Rescue. All together, we have at our department, I think around 60 to 70 volunteers, and we have 30 career staff. Castle Rock, I believe, has 5 career staff, and I'm guessing, but I think around 50 volunteers. So we've got both departments here training on this today. We've got an academy that just wrapped up for new volunteers, and this is kind of their final, if you will, to get some live fire experience. We have quite a few applications to do burns every year, but sometimes they just don't meet the safety standards. We've got to make sure that the house is safe for our firefighters. You know, the floors aren't going to fall through, those kind of things. But when we do have the opportunity, we really like to make use of it. So a lot of our newer firefighters and people right out of the academy, they get to actually get in and get a live burn in a structure fire, which is what we go on most of the time when we do respond to a fire. So what we'll have today, we'll have some ignition teams, usually 2 or 3 firefighters that are experienced, and they'll be inside. We've got 4 burn rooms and a basement today. So they'll light up one of the rooms, they'll bring in the recruits with another seasoned firefighter, they'll put out the fire, and then they'll start it up again. They'll come in, they'll actually see the fire grow and look at the fire behavior and learn from actual live fire in Class A combustible. So we're using hay and pallets, that kind of thing. And then put it out, and then we'll come back out, and then we'll burn it as many times as we can, and then once it gets unsafe, then we'll let it go, and then that's when a lot of people start taking pictures, and it gets pretty fun. But yeah, it's a great learning opportunity, and so that's kind of what we're doing today.
So for this morning's chain of command, our incident commander is James Graham. I'm his deputy incident commander this morning, which I'm managing the on-scene operations. And we have ignition specialists who are inside. They're some of our key officers, Travis McQuain, Daryl Herrera, Joe Tone, Greg Heelam. They have experience in their various areas, specifically with igniting houses. And then that basically fills out our hierarchy this morning of what we're doing. Each team has a captain and a lieutenant with them with experience that they're taking in at least 2 to 3 rookies and keeping them inside the fire and helping to teach them what's going on.
My name's Taryn Miller. I went to the high school class, took 2 years at the academy, and I graduated and became a volunteer at Station 2-5.
And then Jimmy coming through the dormer on that side too, so if you get aggressive, just be aware of that.
So Andy, can you keep an eye on the dormer?
Alright, so upstairs, since it is a higher hazard, it takes longer to get up there. We're actually bringing the crews up with us, and they watch the whole lighting process and see the fire build, and so they have a good idea what they need to do to put it out. When we're downstairs, we're actually going to let it build without them seeing it, and they'll be going into a black environment, have to find the fire and put it out. But since it takes a while to get up the stairs with low visibility, we want them up there already so they can see what they've got to put out, and we've got an element of safety in there. The first stage of that, and that is a controlled environment where we have a lot of backup lines already in place that we can deal with it if it gets out of control. So you get used to this kind of stuff, and then before you know it, you're just responding to 911 calls, and you've got to deal with an environment you've never seen. You've never seen where the stairs are, where access and egress is, and you've got to do all that as we do a walk around of the structure, see what we need to do, where the fire is, and then go put it out. Where the difference is here, everybody's gone through this structure, and they know what to expect. They know where the stairs are. They know where the ladders are set up if they have to bail out. So it's like, it's a baby step, but it's still the real conditions up there, for sure. They'll feel the heat, and there's zero visibility. I mean, you can see how black the smoke is in there. You can't see your hand in front of your face. So it's by feel and by experience that you find the fire.
On a fire ground, this is what we consider, when we see the orange tarp, it's our sacred stuff. We don't touch it. It's not used for a primary fire attack. It's all tools that are set up for a RIT team, a rapid intervention team, for if a firefighter goes down or they get trapped, they get in a bad spot, That's going to be our job as almost a backup team to go in and help mitigate that hazard to try to get them out of harm's way and get them out. So we have tools set out that are going to be just used by us, and everybody knows that. So we've got everything here. We've got saws, extra bottles, rope lines, axes, just about anything that you need to force your way into a building or make new holes in walls to get your ways in and out. So if something goes down, we're all five of us will be the RIT team. We'll be the ones taking care of the hazard, taking care of whatever needs to be taken care of.
We have actually two jurisdictions. We have Trevor Thayer and Mr. Rink from Castle Rock, and then we have Tristan Weaver, who is operating the other tender.
This is a portable water tank we use for if we're out like in rural areas where there's no hydrants or water supply. Each tender has approximately 1,800 to 3,000 gallons of water, and they'll come in. This is piped into the engine with an attack line, and when this starts getting low, we do what's called tender shuttles. So we'll typically have 2 to 3 tenders running, and they'll just continually fill this tank up.
Do you have traffic, Joe?
From Team 3, Ignition just trying to call you.
Okay, command, at this time we're lighting the bathroom, Charlie side. Team 6 is at the Alpha side entry as an attack. The entire first 6 will be making entry.
Copy that. Lighting in the bathroom, Team 6 making entry.
You can see the the buildup of soot that happens on everything. So you lose visibility, and you start working off of other senses, how you feel and your temperature, your body temperature change, and you don't feel it until it's had time to heat through all of your layers. Our bunker gear is the outer layer is designed for abrasion resistance and direct flame impingement, and then there's a moisture barrier that doesn't allow water to get through. We try to avoid water on the inside because once that superheated air gets inside, it converts to steam, and then you end up with a steam burn. Just as if you were to boil water over the stove and put your face right over the same exact thing, but it's trapped inside your suit now, and you have no way to get rid of it. And then there's a thermal liner, which is designed to separate and keep it's really cushiony, like you'd imagine, like a pillow. So there's a lot of air space between fibers to act as that insulation between your skin and the outside environment.
How long would you say it takes for a fire to kind of just get out of control beyond something you can do?
It's so dependent on the layout of the house and the furnishings that are inside. The more fuel load in there, and we look at, you may look at your kid's room as furnishings. We look at it as fuel load. So the more there is and how it's arranged, if there's more stuff that goes up higher on the walls, bookshelves and things like that versus low bookshelves, it gets out of control much quicker. And then the advancement in plastics and things like that dramatically change it. The fires from the 70s progressed much slower because things were made out of solid wood and cottons and things like that. And today we have, polymers and plastics that
fiberboard.
Yeah, and the glues that hold all that stuff together. So there is a lot of studies by NIST and UL that look at fire development over time, but every space is different. You can have a modern home with modern furnishings in a bedroom that can go from a small fire in a trash can or something from like a cigarette to unsurvivable in less than 2 minutes. You can see we had to break a window out early on, and that was so we could let the fire get more air. And so if it was just to naturally occur on its own, it would have built up much slower. It didn't have enough furnishings, it didn't have enough air moving in the house. And we changed that, and we can do that, and that's part of what we're teaching them up there. Here's how we can change the environment and do what we can do to affect a slower progression fire to buy us more time. which is always the name of the game. That's our enemy in this, is time.
It's really good to get the training and the opportunity to get in there and work with it when you're not in a life and death situation. You have somebody right next to you telling you, okay, hold the nozzle this way and it'll be easier, or do this and you'll be able to control this aspect better. This has been my first exposure to the fire department and the fire aspect, and I love it.
Obviously, when we have fire, we have a lot of heat and the risk for spread of fire. So our job as an exposure crew is to protect other items that may catch fire. For instance, this trailer house or this small garage. We'll watch for signs of embers, things flying around that may start a fire, or the heat transfer that would ignite on a fire. So we need to stay observant and ready to act. And we'll also monitor our radio in case somebody else spots any exposure concerns, and they would direct us to that.
When we go in with at least 2 people, sometimes 3, and when we report back to command, we have a low air alarm, and it has a reading on it and tells us how much air we have left. So whenever we report back to command, we got to report who has the lowest air. Whenever we get down to a certain point, the low air alarm begins to chime in and lets us know we got a little bit of time to get outside.
Oh.
How many students got to get in?
We have an attic fire right now, and the crew up there is going through and taking and removing some of the ceiling, and so they can access that roof deck. Well, we like to see white smoke, which means that the fire attack is putting water on the fire. It's converting to steam. If it stays brown or yellow, it's usually burning building material components. So we want to see it turn white.
The plan is we're going to continue the burns that we've got, and we've put the fire out that was in the attic. And so we're going to finish up. We've got at least one more rotation of people who haven't been in the building this morning. Then we're going to begin to build fires even bigger and put some of our more experienced firefighters on those so they can get to experience as well.
Okay, go back out. Stay with your nozzle. Wide open, not half of it, wide open. No, don't back down. Stay wide open. Go, let's pull some hose out.
We'll pick some specific spots to weaken the house so that it falls away from certain things, and probably more setting the fire on this end of the house, which we call the Bravo Charlie corner, and pulling it away from the trees and those kinds of things, so the fire will be more active on this end and then the rest of the house will fall into it. I think Karen wants to be on the hose line. This is the last group of the Academy people, and they're going to go in, and once that fire gets put out a couple times, we're going to let it go.
Okay, 30 seconds. Go. Go. Wide open, not half open, wide open. No, don't shut down. Stay wide open. Move without it.
Forever on camera.
It is.
We've got all the crews through, no injuries, so that's actually the best thing that we could have had happen in this situation. We've got very good training, and now we're going to wrap up the lines and get all the stuff out of the way, and we're just going to let the structure burn down in the way it was set up to burn down.
What are we going to see? It's possibly a whirl. You'll see the fire. It'll start to look like a tornado. It'll be a spinning, vortex.
Okay.
When they have, no limits and unlimited amount of fuel for a moment, they don't usually last very long, but they make their own weather for a short amount of time, and it spins and creates its own wind.
Firefighter's nightmare right there is basement fires.
All right, how'd that go today?
Well, I think we got a lot of good training in. As you can see, it's burning to the ground now, so we're accomplishing another goal for the homeowner. That's going to be demolished, and they're going to be able to build a beautiful new home on it. So everybody wins. It's a good day.